My partner and I, Deborah Hill, who died this year, decided that we would try to do a remake of The Fog. We tried to set it up, and we hooked up with David Foster, and we got a green light from Revolution, so here we are.
One of my colleagues at my office, this is a young fella named Shane Riches, came into my office one day and said, "Why don't you talk to John Carpenter about remaking The Fog?" I called John and I said, "Let's have lunch and talk about it." So he said, I'll never get his line. He said, "Yeah, go ahead, make me rich." In 48 hours, we had a deal. There is a history that I have with John. I produced The Thing for John. He's the most comfortable guy to work with. To me, he was the key.
The genesis of the original Fog was, it happened in England, and Deborah Hill and I were over there, and we were at Stonehenge, we saw some fog drifting, and kind of the possibilities of it kind of intrigued us. And I thought it would be fun to do a ghost story.
Who is that?
It was never a favorite of my films, but regardless, I didn't want to direct again. I've done it once, and I don't want to do it again, but perhaps some young genius can take it over and make it better.
And action, Ken!
We were all taken with Stigmata, which was directed by our director, Rupert Wainwright.
When I came in to meet with the studio the first time, I said, here's my point of view about this remake. I want to be like a doctor. First, do no harm. So any scene that's great and works, we just don't want to mess with it.
I think Rupert's image of vision is more related to some films that he's seen that he loved, like The Ring, the original Ring. Oh, you certainly don't want to copy those, but in feel, that's the kind of movie he keeps talking about.
Well, every director has a slightly different style, and what interested me about Rupert Wainwright's style, he uses inserts and close-ups for texture and timing, so that the speed can increase in the film.
John was very much, he left me to do my thing. He wanted everyone to be able to make their own movie. He kept his distance.
From a business point of view, horror films are young people's films. So we specifically went out and said, okay, let's get some popular, attractive, young actors and actresses in this film. And we really zeroed in on Tom Welling and Maggie Grace.
I played Nick Castle. My character exists in the first Fog as well, a bit younger in this version. And myself and my estranged girlfriend, who's now back in town, Elizabeth, we try to figure out what's going on in the Fog and why things are happening.
Tom was great. I mean, I've never seen somebody turn up, you know, so prepared and yet working so hard. I mean, the first 3 or 4 weeks of shooting, he was still doing, first 5 weeks, I think, he was still doing Smallville. So it was very tough for him. I mean, he would shoot like an entire night with us on Sunday night, and then Monday morning, just drive straight to work.
One day, he finished Sunday at about 7 o'clock in the morning. It was a night shoot. 7 in the morning, showered, got dressed, and went to work on Smallville.
Blood for blood.
I play Elizabeth. She hitchhikes into town at the beginning as she did in the original, but it's a very different character than the one Jamie Lee Curtis played. She is from the town in question and has a lot of history there and a lot of history with Nick as well.
You know, Maggie has this very quiet, calm, you know, demeanor, but really there's a real strong quality inside her, and that's what comes out in the movie, I think. There's this real pent-up, tense, nervous energy, which I think is great for her character.
It's nice to play a female character that is empowered and gets in on all the action and isn't being carried through the movie the whole time. She's definitely figuring things out the whole time and sometimes gets a little further ahead even. So that's been nice.
Listen up. Got a low tide warning in the AM for you, and as I check my lighthouse gauges, looks like the old barometer is on the rise.
Selma is great because you've got a character who's all on her own in one room, and she's got to really make that character come alive. So to me, having her play that role was a real blessing because she has so much character and so much, so much fun in her. She's a fantastic actress, obviously, but you could be a fantastic actress and still the scenes could get a little dull, but because she's so fun and crazy, it adds a lot to the role.
I play a woman who works in the lighthouse. I have a small radio station there. I do the weather reports, and I'm the one that can kind of tell everyone where to go. I can kind of navigate, people to safety.
I play Spooner, who's working with Nick Castle on the boat on the Seagrass. I'm pretty much the free spirit guy, the funny guy, the relief, the comedically speaking. And I wasn't even, there was no portrayal of this character in the original. Although the Seagrass was attacked, everyone died, everyone perished on the first one, and now I'm here, you know what I mean? So it's a good character, it's a good role.
D-Ray adds levity to all situations. He's an all-around fun guy to have on the set, and I think he's bringing some great things to his role as well, but just to have him around is a good thing.
D-Ray is a funny stand-up comic, and we just think he's terrific, and so that's it was really a specific plan to go after fresh, young faces that are popular with the young people out there today.
There it was, gone.
Fine Vancouver, a really beautiful city. It's doubling for Oregon coast. Pretty much looks the same. You can look out there, you see the snow in the mountains, and it's 70 degrees outside sometimes.
What's tough about Vancouver is the changeability of the weather. I always said to people, this movie, if we have to have a sunny day and it's all fogged in, it's a weather day for us. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then, one day we travel all this distance to go and find a great location, and we totally got fogged in. And it was literally just shooting in front of a white card.
We were out for 2 days on this schooner, and it's supposed to be, normal night, It started pouring rain. On the weekend, it poured all weekend long, and we were shooting in the rain, and people are running around, and it's not supposed to be raining in the scene. And all the wardrobe, it's period clothes because it's 1860 something or other. Oh my God, the flames and the water's hitting the flames, and it's like crazy.
I've heard several reasons why horror films are being remade. One, I think, probably is the simplest explanation is a lot of kids have heard of these movies, but they've never really seen them. Maybe they've heard their older brothers or their parents talk about them, so it's in their consciousness, but they've never paid attention. But in general, there's a cultural mindset right now that says anything over 15 years old is kind of dead and old-fashioned. And so in order to make it viable again, we need to take it out and kind of give it a fresh coat of paint and try to revise the corpse.
It is sort of a retelling in a totally different way. It's almost like a translation of a movie. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it wouldn't exist without John's movie, which is great, but there's a whole other layer added to it now. And that couldn't have been added if there wasn't an amazing foundation to start with. But I hope people will be able to go, wow, it's like, I can like chicken and I can like beef, but I don't necessarily have to compare the two, you know what I mean?